Red wine. Let's start with the most popular one. Red wine is made from dark-colored grapes. And here's the key thing that makes it different from everything else. It's fermented with the grape skin still on. And that matters a lot. See, those skins contain something called tannin, a natural compound that creates that dry, almost chalky sensation you feel in your mouth after a sip of red wine. That's not a flaw. That's actually the hallmark of red wine. The skin contact is also what gives red wine its deep, rich color, and it's where a lot of complex flavors come from. Think berries, plum, dark fruit, spice, earthiness. The longer the skins stay in contact with the juice, the more of that color, tannin, and complexity you get. Reds like Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Pinot Noir, all made this way. White wine. Now, white wine is kind of the opposite approach. White wine is typically made from green or yellow grapes, what we call white grapes. But here's the difference. The skins are removed before fermentation begins. That's why the liquid stays clear and light. Without those skins, you get no tannin, no dark color, just clean, crisp, fresh flavors. White wines range from really zesty and citrusy to rich and creamy, depending on how they're made. You'll get notes of apple, citrus, tropical fruit, or floral aromas. And here's a fun detail. If a white wine is aged in oak barrels, like a classic Chardonnay, it picks up vanilla and buttery flavors from the wood. That's why some whites taste completely different from others, even within the same category. Rose wine. All right, rose. A lot of people assume this is just pink wine, something light and simple, but there's actually a really specific technique behind it. Rose is made from red grapes, the same dark grapes you'd use for red wine. But here's the trick. The skins are only left in contact with the juice for a very short time. We're talking hours, not days. That brief contact is just enough to turn the juice pink, giving you that signature color. And because the contact is so short, you get the refreshing, crisp qualities of a white wine, but with just a hint of that fruity berry character from the red grape. Now, and this is worth saying, most rose is not made by blending red and white wine together. That's a common myth. The real method is all about controlling that skin contact time. Strawberry, peach, watermelon, fresh florals. That's the rose flavor world. Sparkling wine. Let's talk about bubbles. Champagne, Prosecco, Cava. What do they all have in common? The bubbles in sparkling wine aren't just pumped in artificially. They're created through something called a secondary fermentation. After the wine is made, a small amount of sugar and yeast is added, and the wine ferments a second time inside a sealed bottle or tank. That fermentation produces carbon dioxide, and because there's nowhere for it to escape, it dissolves into the wine. Open the bottle, and suddenly, bubbles. Now, Champagne, Prosecco, and Cava all use slightly different methods to achieve this, and that's why they taste different. But the principle is the same. Here's something most people don't think about. Carbonation actually works as a palate cleanser. That's why sparkling wine is one of the most food-friendly styles out there. It cuts through richness, resets your taste buds, and works with everything from fried chicken to oysters. That's also why it became the go-to celebration drink. It's not just fancy. It's genuinely versatile. Orange wine. And finally, the wild card. Orange wine, also called amber wine. And no, it's not made from oranges. Here's what it actually is. It's a white wine made using red wine technique. Remember how we said white wine is made by removing the skins before fermentation? Orange wine does the exact opposite. It leaves the skins on during fermentation, just like you would with a red. So you take white grapes, leave the skins on, ferment them, and you end up with a wine that's a deep amber or orange color, with a texture that's grippy and slightly bitter. It's unlike anything in the typical white wine category. What makes this really interesting is that this is a new trend. It's actually one of the oldest winemaking techniques in the world. Winemakers in the country of Georgia were doing this thousands of years ago in clay vessels called amphorae. The modern orange wine movement is really just rediscovering an ancient method. It's polarizing. People either love it or find it strange. But if you're curious and adventurous, it's one of the most unique wine experiences you can have.